As the country deals with both COVID-19 and widespread protests, Floridians are gearing up for an extra layer of stress: hurricane season. I reached out to a few local officials to see just how big of an impact the pandemic will have on this season. While the Gulf Coast prepared for Cristobal, hurricane season has kicked off. The storm didn't have a serious impact here in north central Florida, but if a serious hurricane does develop, shelters might look a little different this year.
We've increased the square footage per person. So traditionally in a risk shelter, it's approximately 20 square foot per person. We're looking at how do we get approximately 60 square foot per person.
That means every shelter will have triple the spacing between each family. But more spacing means less people in each shelter.
We have to look at maybe opening more shelters than we would normally want to open, and how do we cascade those openings effectively and rapidly.
The city of Gainesville has multiple shelters throughout its entire area. But what about a smaller city like Newberry? It has just one official shelter for its entire population.
That's going to be difficult for us to adhere to. We certainly could open up our schools as other emergency shelters if we really needed to, but it also becomes a manning issue. Do we have enough volunteers? Do we have enough people to man that many sites?
Marlowe was candid with his approach to new guidelines.
We are not going to turn anyone away from a shelter if we have a hurricane bearing down on us. That will be our stance in Newberry.
Grebe wants to stress that if you do need a shelter in Alachua County, there will be one available, but you should only use the shelter as a last resort.
We always say it's an emergency shelter is a lifeboat, not the love boat.
As for right now, both Grebe and Marlowe emphasize that you should have a hurricane kit readily available. In creating that kit, they ask that you do not hoard, only buy a week's worth of supplies. In Alachua County, Chris O'Brien, WUFT News.